beautiful butterflies, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today I need to tell you the truth about being a disabled woman who also cares for somebody else who is disabled. This might surprise you, so let's get into it. Now, people assume because I'm disabled I couldn't possibly look after another disabled person, and it's kind of the assumption I think I made as well. Like, if you're well, you would offer to take care of a parent or a child. But the truth is that being disabled does not take away from your responsibility to a parent or a child or a family member or even a friend that you care about. And it also doesn't negate the fact that you could start out being healthy, but then the stress on your body that comes from being a carer can also take a big toll on your body. And so you might not start out being disabled, but you might end up being disabled. For me, I was disabled before my mom. Actually, I became sick in my early 20s, and she was actually my carer when I first became sick. So she helped me a lot. She really inspired me a lot. She was very encouraging and caring. She was a lovely carer. Thank you, Mum. Her and my dad were in actually a really serious car accident in Spain when they were on holiday once, and one of their friends who was in the car at the same time ended up in a coma. It was like a really bad accident, and my mother was right at the apex of that accident. The trauma of that actually meant that she then became sick with multiple sclerosis. So it was the trauma of the accident that caused or triggered the illness in her, which nobody really talks about, like how trauma can cause you to become disabled physically. And I didn't really realise that either. I was quite disabled at the time when she had this accident, and I remember just being very thankful that she was with my dad, and my dad was looking after her for a long time. She lived on her own for a while in our childhood home, and then right at the start of COVID, right when COVID hit, my mum had a fall and she was on the floor all day, and she eventually gave in trying to get up, and she had this like wrist thing. What was it called? It's like a little press, an alarm goes off. Yeah. Like a personal alarm. Thank you, husband. And she pressed that, and they called us to come and see to her. And she'd been hiding how sick she was from us, but we saw immediately that she couldn't look after herself anymore, and so we sold our house and moved into my childhood home. And it's been a bit of an emotional roller coaster, if I'm going to be honest with you. There's a lot of guilt involved with caring for somebody who's sick when you are sick. There are days when I can't do anything to help my mom at all, and days when she needs me and I'm in bed, or I can't move because I'm so tired and I can't do anything to do that she needs me to do. Or there's times when she wants to get up out of bed and I'm still foggy in bed trying to wake up and get up myself. We are incredibly lucky because we have my husband who looks after both of us, but it's very hard taking care of a parent, and I think people don't talk about it enough really in society, just how hard it is to care for a parent, because suddenly you're telling them what you need them to do, and you're trying to get them to take their medications and eat right and drink their water and go to the toilet, and you're doing personal care for that person who did that for you when you were a baby, and it can throw off the dynamic between you quite a lot. And we have had headbutts, really bad headbutts, over the time that we've lived here, in a way that me and my mom have never really had before. But it's been...
Hello. Okay, radio. Okay.
And just like that, my mom is calling because she needs help from my husband. And that's what it's like. You're in the middle of doing something, but that person needs you. And it's really hard. It is really hard. I'd be lying if I said it was easy being a carer. Oh, it's easy, because it's not. It just isn't. And I think sometimes it can be easy to assume that I'm strong or that I'm doing my best but I should be doing better, or to assume that I'm not as disabled as I could claim to be because I'm caring for somebody else. And all these things are assumptions. Oi, little man! Little Twig wanted to say, he's here. I have no idea what I was just saying. Not a clue, but I'm sure it was very influential and important. For me, it's all about self-care. My whole life is geared around creating content here for YouTube and my blog. I vlog my week, so if you're interested to see how my weeks go with disabilities, you can definitely check out my Monday vlogs. It can be quite difficult to put yourself first, and I talked about this in a recent video. I think it was last week's video. I talked about kindness and not being able to fill somebody else's cup if your cup's empty, and that is so true. You have to keep on looking after yourself, and there are things that you can do, like I go to bed really early. I get into bed about 8 o'clock at night, sometimes about 7:30, 8 o'clock, and I get up out of bed between 8:30 and 9:30 every morning. So I'm in bed most of the day. I also have naps when needed. I have to do a lot of self-care. I take baths if I need to. I pull in a lot of my witchcraft, so it's things like enchanting candles for self-care, self-love, creating sigils. Low energy witchcraft is a huge part of my self-care ritual and the things that I personally do, and I share a lot of this in my vlog, and I have in previous videos, so make sure to go back through the catalogue and check all those things out. But it's all about self-care. I don't think anybody who's disabled and a carer can get by if they're not taking themselves, even if it's just 5 minutes shut in the bathroom to just breathe, or meditation before bed, or picking up a hobby like watercolour or adult colouring. Adult colouring is brilliant. Finding little ways to bring mindfulness and peace into your day, so important. I love those moments where I'm like taking the dog out into the garden and just getting some fresh air, getting out of the house. Also, trips to the supermarket can occasionally be a little bit of self-care, because getting out of the house, getting away from my mom, which sounds awful, but sometimes you just need to keep that separation. So if you're able to get like a neighbour or a friend of theirs to come and sit with them while you just pop to the shop or go out and meet another friend for a coffee, these are all little things that I love to do. I might go to the cafe for the morning with a close friend. We go role playing once a week. We've joined like this little hobby once a week where we go desktop role playing, me and my husband, and it's helped us so much. It's just nice to have a little friend group that you can turn to, but also a little friend group that you can just escape reality for a little while and pretend you're in The Walking Dead or something like that. Has been really, really good. So hobbies and self-care, I'd say, are the most important things we can do. One main problem that we've had has been the benefit system. The benefit system is really hard to navigate. When we sold our house and moved in with my mum, my husband was still working in the police force, and he was still working full time, and I was just moving in thinking she just needed a little bit of a hand. We didn't realise how much help she actually needed, and so my husband dropped down to part-time and then eventually stopped working. Navigating the benefits system is really hard because you only get paid for one person that you're taking care of at a time. So even if you're looking after 2 children, you will only get the money for one. And also only one person, even if you're 2 parents looking after 2 children, only one parent will get the money for one child. That is really hard to deal with because me and Lee both have given up a lot to look after mom, and it's been hard dropping down to just be on benefits. And this whole rhetoric of people on benefits are lazy that is constantly being touted around just drives you insane when you've given up your whole life and everything that you do to go on benefits in order to look after your mother-in-law, and your wife is doing stuff when she's not very well, and you're not both getting paid for it, and suddenly you've got to try and juggle bills and juggle things when you don't have a lot of money. It's really, really hard to deal with those things when everything is 10 million forms, everything is bureaucracy, and going to charities asking for help, and it's a lot. It's overwhelming, and I try not to think about it too much because it just is a lot. It's very overwhelming. And to be honest, I'll put some information down below about the fact that if it wasn't for unpaid carers, that's what we're called, because we're not, how do they put it, we're not like working for an agency or, you know, full-time carers. We just live with a family member and provide care. The thing is that those paid carers are paid, so there's that. But also they just nip in for like a few minutes with each person. They're helping people to bath for one specific thing, or helping them do dinner, or for a specific thing. We're here 24 hours a day, so if my mum needs me at 2 o'clock in the morning, I will have to get up and go and help her at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm not getting paid for the care that I'm giving, and that's something that the government just doesn't seem to realise, that if we all us lazy people on benefits were to go and try and get jobs, first off, we're just moving from one benefit to another benefit, but also if we all get jobs, who's going to look after these family members who we're providing care for little or no money? Like, my husband didn't give up his job just so that he can sit around and watch telly, like the rhetoric tells us. And I hope people who watch my videos realise that. I really hope you do. I will say that it is so important to fight for your rights. We have benefits that we are all, what's the word I want?
Entitled.
We're all entitled to. Thank you, husband. There are benefits that we are entitled to because of the amount of money that we get, because of the fact that we don't work, etc, etc, etc. And there are charities out there that will help you, including the, what's that one, the national one in the UK, the one that you tried to go to, you know, the one that everybody knows, the charity that helps people. It's in town, by the bridal shop.
Oh, Citizens Advice.
Citizens Advice Bureau. Including Citizens Advice Bureau, they're all there to help us to get the benefits that we're supposed to be getting. It's actually quite crazy how many people aren't getting the benefits they should be getting, because it's kind of like you're just left to get on with it. Nobody comes and sits down with you and says, right, you're on this amount of money and these are the benefits you can get. And I'm sure there's people here on my channel who are watching this video now who are entitled to benefits that they're not getting. So I would encourage you to go and find out if you can get any benefits, if there's any help that you can get. It's really important that we all fight for what we are entitled to, because at the end of the day, as disabled carers, we are providing care that the NHS just couldn't provide. It just couldn't. And so when you start looking into the actual meat and potatoes of the care that we provide and why that helps this country, it changes your life, I'm telling you. It definitely opened my eyes. I'll put it that way. There are a lot of hidden costs that people don't expect that come with moving in with a family member who is disabled and being disabled yourself, and they call it like the disabled tax. Again, I will put more actual information, factual information down below, but my point is there's a lot that goes into it. We sold our house to move in with my mum, and you would think we would have loads of money in the bank, But actually when we moved in with my mom, we realised that the roof needed redoing because nobody had touched the house since like the 1990s. And the roof was all rotten and things, and we needed to pay for that. We also paid to have this room created. It was a double garage, but we turned it into a room for our things, like the things that, because we moved it from a 3-bedroomed house into a 3-bedroomed house, and my mum's already got all her stuff in there, so we've just got our bedroom in the house where we can put our things. And then we've got this room, which has got all our collectibles and things behind me and stuff like that. And it's just a place where we can come in here to get some, again, time to ourselves. My husband spends a lot of time in here doing his art, and it's just something that so was needed. But it did mean that it used up all our savings, those two things. On top of that, we need to still be buying walking sticks, and we need to pay for extra things that other people don't even have to think about. Also, the house hasn't been decorated since the 90s, so we're slowly doing up the house and redecorating it, and all these things cost money. You know, it really affected my mental health when we first moved in as well, because obviously I'm married and I'm moving back into my childhood home. We moved into this house when I was 6 years old, and I've off and on tried to escape and it pulls me back in. But I think it's so important to remember that these things can affect our mental health. Like, I felt like, oh my goodness, you know, I've moved out, I've moved on, I've got married, we've got our own house, my own space, and suddenly I'm crammed into my childhood bedroom thinking, what the hell has happened? Thankfully we've figured it out over the years, but it has been really difficult for my mental health as well as financially. It's just been really, really hard, and I think we can assume a lot of things about people, but you have to really concentrate on the truth and see through what society tries to cloud us with, especially at the moment. There's a lot of right-wing rhetoric. There's a lot of things that the government is saying against us as disabled people, that if you're not in the disabled community, you might not even realise that you're hearing on the news every day and on, you know, official Labour accounts and things like that. So I will definitely leave some links down below for more information, but it all really does affect your mental health as well as your moolah coming in, and also your ability to make money. They're really cracking down on things like selling clothes online and trying to, you know, start up a business maybe, or trying to get things going. Even like YouTube, they could see this and take my benefits from me, even though I don't make any money from this. It's just a hobby that I do as I try and deal with the world. You know, I started my YouTube channel years ago, and I love my little channel, my little corner of the world and my little blog, but yeah, I don't make money off this. I'm not one of these really rich YouTubers. I wish I was. Send me all the money. There is a lot of money saving magic to be done though. Things like shopping in sales. I do a lot of shopping from supermarkets, like for clothes and things. A lot of stuff I get from charity shops and online charity shops like Vinted and eBay, places like that. I've got a lot of thrifting content here on the channel, so if you want to check out my thrifting playlist, I'll leave a link to it down below. There's a lot there, and so if you would like to know more about thrifting and about my journey thrifting, check out that link, because there's a lot of like tips and tricks that I share in amongst all that if you're looking to really save money but also live well, because you can live well on benefits. I definitely believe that. I believe that you can bring money into your life through witchcraft. I do a lot of witchcraft to help me and my husband. We do a lot of self-care, we do a lot of money magic. You know, there's a lot to be done to really draw in that feeling of abundance and really make you feel good and to have a good life and to have a nice home. They're all things that cost money, and I really wish they didn't, because it'd be lovely to have the house all decorated and all beautifully done, but it's just one of those things. And if you're living in a house that hasn't been decorated for a million years because of a family member, you'll know exactly how I feel and why I cannot wait to get this house decorated. I think one thing that we don't talk about enough is the effect that becoming a carer has on your relationships. Me and my husband, we rarely get 5 minutes together anymore, just us. We don't have the ability to have really date nights, just us. It's not really a thing that happens very often because of money, but also because of time away. Like leaving my mom on her own is something we feel bad about doing and we are reticent to do. It's something that has really affected and impacted our relationship in a lot of ways. But also it's affected my relationship with becoming disabled changes you anyway. You lose a lot of dignity, you lose a lot of self-independence and just that feeling of control in your life. And it's so hard because she was always this like social butterfly when I was growing up, and to see her now be scared to go out the door, it's like living with a completely different person. And that is hard. It's hard sometimes to connect. She just has no real want to do anything. She really struggles with self-care and thinking about self-care, and all these things really impact us because we're caring for her. We're trying to get her to do her exercises and drink right and eat right and go to bed at night, and she will fight you every step of the way. She's a Taurus Gemini, right on the cusp there, and boy, she's very Taurus. She's very much bullheaded, and if she's got her feet in the ground, you will not move her. But it means you're having these big arguments a lot of the time, or big discussions, serious conversations about her care and about what needs to happen and how you want to help her. And it just feels like you're at loggerheads every day, all day. And that affects my mental health, it affects her, it affects my husband and his relationship with her. Like, it's all got a lot of knock-on effect to it, and it's extremely difficult to deal with at times. And I think sometimes it can be easy to forget that you love this person and you've done this because you love them, because it just changes everything. But then love does that, doesn't it? I'm not going to sing. Don't get me started. My top 3 pieces of advice are to take care of you, to take time out as much as possible, to do whatever you can to have time for yourself, whether it's getting them settled and then having a couple of hours in the evening, or getting up super early so you can have a bit of time for yourself. Just taking time to really concentrate on you. My second thing would be get advice about how it's going to affect you financially and what can be done to help you locally. A lot of the times you'd be surprised to find like your local library does like a carers afternoon coffee, or there can be like a carers group or a local whatever. A lot of the times in the UK the GP needs to know or wants to know that you're a carer, and it'll get put in your folder or whatever, so they can keep an extra eye on you, because it can affect your mental and your physical health, and so they need to keep an eye on that. So let your GP know as well. My third thing would be just to try and stay grounded in the moment and not worry about what the news is saying or what society's saying, and try to just stay in the truth of where your little bubble is and what you're doing. The care that you're giving that person is worth so much more than we're ever given credit for by society, and probably ever will be given credit for by society. So you have to get that kind of respect for yourself and remember how important you are to the way Britain works. If we all down tools today and said, right, we're going back to work, I'm not doing this anymore, who would pick up the pieces and how much would that cost society? And to think about how much you are actually worth. You're worth more than society tells you. Always keep that in mind. Let me know down in the comments what you would add to that, any advice that you have to give to anybody who is a carer, if you are also a carer, and if you're a disabled carer, I send you an extra load of love right to you. I really hope that you enjoyed this video and got something out of it, and I hope that even if you're not a disabled carer, that you come to see other carers and people in your community in a bit of a different way. Let me know down in the comments, leave it a cheeky like, hype it up, subscribe, do all those wonderful free magical things that let me know and the YouTuberverse know that you enjoyed the video, and it'll share it out just that little bit more. Take care everyone, sending you all wonderful lashings of love. Take care, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.